How do Uber and Lyft accident claims work when you are the driver that is hit by an at-fault Uber or Lyft driver? We're going to go through all of that here today. The two biggest points are insurance availability. It's unique in these Uber Lyft cases. You need to be aware of it. And number two, the evidence that might be unique because it's an Uber or a Lyft driver who's at fault versus your standard car wreck claims. So we're going to go through that so you have a full picture of what you're looking at. My name's Ted Spalding. I'm an Atlanta personal injury trial attorney, and I've been practicing for almost 20 years now in Georgia, trying these types of cases. And my point in this video is not to sell my services, but to try to give back some of my knowledge that I've gained over these 20 years to help you become a better personal injury, either client for an attorney that's helping you with this claim, or for you to handle this claim on your own. Knowledge is power, and I'm hoping I can provide some of that for you with this video. So let's jump right in to this topic. Number one, most important, is insurance availability. It sets the ball field you're going to be playing in for the value of your claim, because these are ultimately 9 times out of 10 all about insurance. So how does this work? All right, in this case, you're in a much better position than a lot. Why? Because the Uber Lyft driver is the one that's at fault. So Uber Lyft, their insurance is liability insurance. They have traditionally $1 million of liability coverage that covers their drivers if they were in the employ, in essence, of Uber at the time. Now, what they used to do, and it may be by the time you watch this video it changed, but you want to check this, is they had different layers. Okay, so for instance, $1 million of coverage, if they were in the act of either going to pick up someone, meaning they selected that customer and they're on their way to pick them up, or they had the passenger customer in their vehicle at the time of the wreck, it's $1 million. If they had the app on, they were just driving around waiting for a ping that there was a ride in their area, oftentimes it's a lower limit. Then if they were an Uber Lyft driver, but they weren't active at the time, there might not be any coverage at all. So that is your first issue when it comes to layers of insurance. Hopefully it's the scenario where the driver had someone in there. There's no question they were on the job, if you will, at the time, and the full amount of the policy applies. This is why you oftentimes need an attorney, because there might be nuances and you want to make sure you're maximizing the amount of coverage available. So first and foremost, there that is. The second is, what independent individual liability auto coverage did the driver have? Now here's the unique part here. So you've got Uber Lyft's policy, hopefully. Then you've got, they have Allstate or State Farm individually. The next question is, does it apply? Oftentimes it won't, because these drivers don't tell their personal auto policy that they're ride sharing. Why? Because it then will cost them more, because the insurance will be available. It's an exclusion 99% of the time, especially in my state, if they did not notify them that they were riding rideshare. It's an exclusion. So it won't apply. You got to dig in, find out, and know, because it's another layer of insurance above the liability from Uber Lyft. Then you have your traditional situation. What policy or policies apply from you that might supply additional coverage? I've got another video on how works. You would want to look at that and understand when it does, when it doesn't. Again, you're wanting, and I tell people in the most scenarios, what you're wanting is way more coverage than you're ever going to need. $1 million from Uber, the State Farm of the individual driver, another $50,000. You got great adding another couple $100,000, but you're never even going to have to get, oftentimes, even to the guy's individual State Farm policy, much less your But thank God it's there, because I've got cases that are worth that amount. I just tried a case recently. The verdict was $3.29 million in an auto wreck. So these things can happen. You don't know where this is necessarily going early on in your case. How injured are you going to be? I hope you aren't. Means you have a smaller personal injury case, but that's great. That means personally you're in good shape. So anyway, that's just the issues there with the insurance. It gets somewhat complicated. Again, oftentimes why folks are better off with an attorney than not. Now, next, another reason, good reason for an attorney potentially, but you can do a lot of this yourself. Evidence. Biggest evidence. Cameras. Oftentimes these Uber Lyft drivers go out and buy dash cam pointing back into their car, pointing out because they want to show they're not at fault, to not get in trouble with Uber or Lyft. In case there's any issues with the passenger, they have the video to show they didn't do anything, assaults, that sort of thing. Were there cameras? Does the app that they're running have a camera built into it so Uber or Lyft can watch? Right now, I don't believe they have that, but they might in the future. Do those apps also show and monitor how fast the driver's going? Did they brake? Did they maneuver? For instance, Amazon has that functionality with their app. Does Uber and Lyft have it with theirs? You want to ask, you want to find out, you want that preserved. Very important, because if you can prove how fast this guy was going, helps your case tremendously, or that they didn't brake or those sorts of things. So very, very good evidence that you normally don't have in your typical person versus person car wreck scenario. So got to find that information. Number 2, proof that the driver had their app on, was on their way to a route to pick up someone, had a passenger in their vehicle. You want them to preserve that evidence and get that evidence if there's a fight over how much insurance from Uber or Lyft is going to apply. That's important as well. You don't have that issue in other cases. And of course, ultimately, hopefully you did a police report. You had the police come out. They determined Uber, Lyft drivers at fault. They would monitor that there was a passenger and have that down in their report, so it's proven. Hopefully you've got that as well. And then you're off and running. This is how these claims work. Again, the beauty of them is there's typically plenty of insurance coverage. You're not having to stress on not being able to afford all the treatment you need or your lost wages if it's a big wreck. But you've got to know how these things work. So I hope this video helps you become more informed on these things. And as always, comment below any questions on this topic or any others. Watch some of my other videos. Hopefully they will help you as well. And as always, thank you for watching.